Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. And we have here a very special guest. And we have with us Lesley. Lesley, thank you so much for being here with us and agreeing to be on the podcast and sharing your knowledge. I'm so happy to have you here.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm super duper excited to be on here to share, like you said, share my knowledge and whatnot. I'm a little nervous. I will have to say this is like my first video recorded and podcast combo. So um, I'm gonna roll with any mistakes that I make. So,
Yes,
but I am
yes.
excited. I am so super excited to be here. So thank you
Yeah,
for
oh, thank
having
you.
me.
Yeah. And don't
Yeah.
worry, it will get easier as we get along. So just
Yes.
let
Yes.
it be, embrace it.
Yes.
So tell
Yes.
us a little bit more about you. What do you do? What has been your journey on? Like, tell us about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, so currently I live in New York State and I am a registered vascular technologist, meaning I look at veins and arteries with ultrasound. And it's super exciting. I love my job. However, during the pandemic, I've had some time to really do some inner work and find out that I'm here to heal people in a different way. Like I help people, of course, patients every day. I help aid in their diagnosis of disease and all that stuff. However, I want to shift into helping people know that they have choice in their life
Mm,
and step back into their own self-control. So I am in the transitioning period of uncovering some limiting beliefs about making the switch from a stable job to a coaching job that is going to open up so many doors for me. So I'm
yes,
super excited. Yes.
I'm sure it will. Yeah, that's a very noble thing to be doing. And
Mhm.
I can relate obviously to your profession and your where you're coming from because
Mhm.
of my background in healthcare as well.
Mhm.
And it is very difficult because we have our minds towards the patient, but then we also want to do
Mhm.
something that heals more of the mental side, isn't it? More of the mental
Yes.
health.
Mhm. Mhm.
And what would you say is the shift that needs to happen in people to be more open to deal with mental health and explore their spiritual journey and
Yeah.
heal in that sense? What would you say it
Yeah.
needs to happen?
Yeah. So my big philosophy that I go off from is the formula for success. And that's when you live in cause or effect. So when you are living in effect, that means you're coming up with constant reasons as to why things aren't happening in your favor. Like you believe there's always a reason, there's something in your way to achieve success. You are constantly placing blame on people or things being in your way of getting what you want. And you constantly play the victim, unfortunately. So
Mm.
that's when you live in effect. And I've actually been I up until this point, I of when I had my spiritual awakening and during the pandemic and whatnot, I was kind of living in effect. I was always like, there's something there that's keeping me from achieving what I want to achieve. And then it like clicked. I'm like, wait, I don't even know what that is, like,
Mm.
and it uncovered so much for me. So what you want to live in order to have a more abundant life is you want to live in cause. You want to be at cause. Um, and when you're at cause, you get results. So you believe that life has endless opportunities. You take responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions and how you interpret them. And then you step back in control of your life instead of letting outside influences affect you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I can relate to that because I felt like I've been living my life like that, living as
Mhm.
in the passenger seat of my life, and now it's the moment to drive the damn car.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
but this was
Exactly.
something that I was doing unconsciously, and I feel like a lot of people
Mhm.
do it unconsciously as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel like a
exactly.
lot. So, what would you say is that shift that brings into the awareness and brings into the conscious state that people that need to go from this cause to this effect? Is it? Oh, sorry, I
From
get
effect,
confused.
no, you're okay. From effect to cause.
Effect to
Yes.
cause, yes. This victim mentality to more an empowered state. What is that awakening look like?
Yeah. So that awakening is it can make you very humble. It can
Mm,
definitely, I would say, put you in your place, if you will. It just, when you stop just playing the victim and you take responsibility. I think if you just look at one area that you're not necessarily thriving in your
mm,
life, like, for example, your relationship, if it's not where you want it to be, and you're constantly blaming the other person for your not for your failures or not succeeding or whatnot, take a step back and notice, wait a second, I could be at cause for this. Like, I have maybe, um, attracted this person into my life without consciously being aware of it, because there's something deeper within me that needs to come up in order for me to heal, so that I
mm.
can move on from this relationship. Um, and yeah, the biggest shift that needs to happen is just realizing that you are responsible for your own life, and that you should be responsible for your own life, um, instead of being, in effect, being, the victim. It's a hard pill to swallow, but once you push through that and realize that and just embody that, it changes your life.
It really
Hmm.
does. It really does.
Hmm.
But it's
Yeah.
it's I think people tend to think that personal development is all about feeling positive and all about good vibes, and it isn't, isn't it? It's
Hmm.
just a balance. And what would you say
Exactly.
has been your journey, has been people around you journey? What would you say?
Yeah. So, my journey was when I first, um, so a year ago, before the pandemic hit, I was even before, yeah, before the pandemic hit, I wasn't in the best place in my life. I moved to a new city away from my family, like 3 hours away from my family, for this wonderful vascular job, that pays really well. However, I wasn't feeling fulfilled, and I was kind of going down this dark path. And I'm just like, wait a second, this is not me. Like, I was constantly angry. I was angry with patients, which is not me at all. Like, I'm very gentle with them. Um, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, this is awful. Like, I'm depressed now. This is happening. And I gave myself two choices. I said, I can either continue down this path to deep dark spaces with an outcome of I don't know what would have happened, or I can just rise above it and choose to be positive. So I chose to be positive, thank
Yeah.
gosh. And I went into this, the rabbit hole of Pinterest, actually, of looking up affirmations and, the law of attraction and all that stuff. And I was like, this is really cool. Like, I dabbled with it in high school. I had this high school teacher that showed us the video of the law of attraction, and I was skeptical because what I was manifesting didn't work out, but now I know it worked out in my favor of not working out.
Mm, mm,
um, and it led me to, um, the Pinterest posts and all that stuff. It led me to, Catherine Zankina of Manifestation Babe, and I'm a huge lover of her. I'm a big follower of her, and she kind of opened the door for me to, her podcast especially opened up the door for me to, um, begin the spiritual awakening process of, coming back into being at cause, and,
mm.
understanding there's something bigger than me here. Like, I'm here for a reason. um, I believe we're all spiritual beings in this 3D physical world, having a 3D physical experience. So, um, it was a big eye opener. There were a lot of ups and downs with it, like, I don't know, and I could feel my ego coming in, being like, this doesn't feel right. This is not you. You don't need to do this. But it was pushing through that and being like, but this is where I want to go. Like, I'm pushing through all these limiting beliefs about certain things about myself, and, coming back into my self control. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That is very powerful, and I love Catherine Zenkina's podcast as well, and it's
Mhm.
so valuable. So definitely recommend for everyone listening to
Yes.
hop on there and just listen to it because it's really really good. And
Yeah.
I feel like it is definitely ups and downs, and I feel like in
Mhm.
order for people to definitely heal whatever it needs to be healed, they need to be willing to go deep. And sometimes
Mhm.
people just go to the surface and they sit there because it's
Yep.
comfortable.
Exactly.
And I've been doing that a long time.
Yeah.
And I was just
Hmm.
comfortable. And comfortable is not good. Well, it is good, but short term. Because
Yes.
if you look back in your life and all you've been living is just comfortable, it's not inspiring, it's not,
Hmm.
it's to me, it's not worth it. And I love when you said about the Pinterest, because when I had like a bad breakup around six years ago, I the only way for me to be able to sleep was to go on
Hmm.
Pinterest or just Google inspirational,
Yeah.
motivational
Yeah.
quotes,
Hmm.
and that pushed me through. And I had no idea that it was what really helped me at that time.
Hmm.
And then also the idea of law of attraction is something so powerful,
Hmm.
that a lot of people are not aware as well. So it's so good that you're bringing that onto the podcast. Would you like to talk a little
Yeah.
bit more about it, the law of attraction?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, the law of attraction is one of the spiritual laws. There's an abundant of them, but it's one of the main focused. It's been brought to media and all that stuff. But my personal experience with the law of attraction has really picked up over the pandemic,
Hmm.
and I'm trying to come up with a story of, or I'm trying to recall my memory of when I manifested $1,000.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I did one of Catherine Zankina's little exercises in how to manifest money, and that really helped. It's based off from the law of attraction, and you set your intention, and then you just kind of let it go and
Mm.
see what happened. You don't really think about it; you just kind of keep it in the back burner. Um, and I had set the intention of $100, and I kind of forgot about it. And there was this course online that I like took a master class and then went through like a whole week's worth of masterclass work. Um, and the grand prize of doing the work and participating was $1,000. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm not sure if I'd win it, but I'm gonna just play my best, play full out. And by the end of the week, I didn't really like, I was just doing what they were telling me to do. And by the end of the week, I actually won the $1,000 prize, which was extremely surprising, but
Yeah.
actually, just awesome, because I was like, wait a second, this actually works. Like,
Mm.
I, I, I didn't really like, I was a little skeptical before because I was like, $1,000, that's a lot of money, but it happens. So it can, if it happens for me, it can happen for anybody. That's what I
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Oh, that's an amazing
Yeah.
story. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. That's what it is, isn't it? Is setting the intention, letting it go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been struggling as well. And I feel like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people struggle is having these
Mm-hmm.
perfectionist tendencies where we're so attached to the outcome, and it needs to
Exactly.
be this way and a certain time, and it needs to happen
Mm-hmm.
in our own terms. And it's just so much pressure that the universe doesn't want that, does it?
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we are go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I just more about releasing the outcome. Definitely. That's what I've been noticing more recently is that I will, think of something, for example, a crystal that I have been really trying to find.
Hmm.
But I didn't really know much about it. I just knew that it was extremely powerful. It's moldavite. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Is it
Um,
green?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just within this past week, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's very powerful and has a lot of, it can speed up the manifestation process
Mm-hmm.
or aid in the speeding up of manifestation process. And earlier this week, I was like, oh, I saw it on a couple of websites, some auctioneer websites. And I was like, that's pretty cool. But I don't need that. I don't need that right now. But fast forward to yesterday, I, my friend and I, we like to go to all the metaphysical shops around
Mm-hmm.
locally around here, and there's a bunch of them, and it's awesome. And one day I will open up my own metaphysical shop because I love all that stuff
And
and
it's a
tarot
good thing
cards
that
and
this is recorded. So now when you actually open, you'll come back and
yes,
you'll say, oh my God, I recorded this at that time.
yes, I'm putting it out into the universe. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was actually the last shop that we went to, and I was scrolling through, and Moldavite came up, and I was like, oh, I should ask and see if they even have it, because it's a very rare stone to find. It's 15 million years old, and it's from a meteorite that struck in Germany. And
Wow.
Ukraine picked up most of it and have distributed it to many, crystal distributors. And now there's fake ones out there, but this one, it was, um,
The real one.
yes, this one was the real one. So I asked the last shop that we went to, I asked them if they had any, just on a whim, just I was nudged to do it. And they did. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So I got my little nugget here. I'll show them to you. My little
Oh, so cool.
Levite nugget. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely law of attraction. Like, I set the
Mm,
intention that I was going to get it. Didn't matter when, I just knew it was going to happen. And then it just, something nudged inside me to take
yeah.
inspired action and
Yeah.
to ask, and they had it. And that was awesome. That was one of my
Oh, lovely
my big
story.
wings from yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely, my spiritual awakening, the law of attraction, all this stuff has led me to open up more of who I authentically am. And
Hmm.
that's stepping back into my own self-control, not letting my family decide for me that I need to stay in this healthcare job because I need to make money, because I need to have health insurance, because. And it's like,
Mm,
but this, but becoming back to who I truly am, I now understand and embrace that things are coming to me because they just are, like, things are coming to me in my favor. And
yeah.
that's something that a lot of people are, I feel, struggle, especially with my family, because they're very conventional. They're very, like, you go to work, or you go to
Yeah.
school, you go to college for a good job, you go to that job, you come home, you do whatever, you wake up, you go to job. Like, it's just not
Yeah.
my
It's
style anymore.
autopilot, isn't it? A little bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I can relate to that. But the thing that really stuck with me on in your story was
Hmm.
that you set the intention, you let it
Hmm.
go,
Hmm.
great, and then you felt that nudge, and that nudge, I feel like it's
Yes.
important because that's the intent, the
Hmm.
intuition, and your higher self speaking
Exactly. Yes.
through
Hmm.
that nudge that you feel in your body, and then you
Hmm.
took inspired action. So this is the best
Yes.
formula to manifest,
Yes.
isn't it? Is setting the
Hmm.
intention, letting it go, and then
Yep.
paying attention and becoming conscious and aware of what your body is telling you, what your higher self, what your intuition is telling you, and
Exactly.
then take inspired action. Don't say, oh no, that's nonsense, I'm not listening to
Yeah.
you,
Hmm.
right? It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
being fast, because again, the universe likes people who are just like that, just acting fast and taking
Yep.
that inspired action. And there you have it, your crystal
Yeah.
there with you. So that
Yes.
is, and you've manifested $1,000. You've manifested the crystal, and
Yeah.
who knows what more you can manifest by
Yes.
simply following this formula and opening your
Hmm.
mind to what comes natural
Yep.
and in the
Yeah.
flow to you, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. And something that just popped up into my head that maybe some listeners will want to understand is that, they can feel that nudge, but how do you determine or distinguish between your ego and your higher
Yeah,
self?
great point.
And for me, yesterday with this crystal, it was a very gentle nudge. Like, it was like, just ask. Like, if they don't have it, that's okay too. Like, you're not desperate for it. And
Mm,
it just was very smooth. It was a nice, smooth process. It wasn't like the ego where it's like, you need to ask about this now. And if they don't have it, you're leaving immediately. Like, you're not going to give
mm,
them your business. And, it's making that those distinctions between the two of, even, when you're in, like, driving in road rage or something, not road rage, but you're driving and somebody cuts you off,
mhm.
instead of being like, oh, they're so silly, they're jerks, they don't know how to drive. Instead, just tune in and be like, well, maybe they have somewhere that they need to be, it's an emergency, not letting that affect you. That could be
Yeah.
a good distinction between the ego and your higher self. So
I
yeah.
just got a download because when you
Yeah.
said that, my boyfriend says this, and I think it is a custom, like a tradition to say in Portugal, but it's
Okay.
quite funny, and I think it
Mhm.
puts things into perspective. So in a situation like that, when we have people cut us off or whatnot, he just says, oh, you know what, they have the soup on the stove.
Ah, there you go.
It's like they have to hurry because they have the soup on the stove.
Mhm.
And I just, yeah, you don't know what other people are thinking. Maybe they are jerks. Maybe they are just doing silly
Maybe they
business,
are,
but
but
you have to give the benefit of the doubt. And that is the karma
exactly.
that goes to you as well. Because I
Exactly.
believe that
Yes.
energy, because if you're giving the benefit of the doubt, you're being compassionate, you're being kind, and you're
Yes.
not being consumed by that negative energy that is only hurting you. That person cannot hear you, so it doesn't really
Exactly.
matter. It's only
Yes.
you that is affecting you. So how would you what advice would you tell to people that sometimes are feeling this resistance or are being consumed by the ego, and what would you
Yes.
say to those people that they can listen to their higher self?
Yeah. Yeah. So that brings me back into being in control of yourself.
Yeah.
So um, you can't always be in control of what you think, feel, and emote. That's just you get things all the time, but it's how you interpret and process those thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You can decide to give energy into those negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions, or you can decide to kind of thank them for coming in. They're not you, they're not serving you, and just kind of releasing them, because Tony Robbins says this wonderful quote that I love. Tony Robbins, he's also someone that I look up to, who's a great mentor. um, where your focus goes, energy flows.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are focusing on those negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, they're going to come back to you tenfold. But if you thank them and don't give them too much energy, then you can shift your focus on the positives. And then a great tip that I like to do is, if you are thinking negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions, is to just stop for a second and be grateful for something in your life. Say out loud
Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 things you're grateful for, because when you are grateful for something, it literally stops negativity and fear in its tracks, because it brings you back into being grateful for the universe, for your health, for your apartment, your car, like just all these things. And then it instantly grounds you in a way. And
Yeah.
it shifts your attention to being grateful about positive things in your life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And nowadays, I have been doing this for quite a long time now. And I have a
Mhm.
little bit of practice. And nowadays, I'm even grateful for the quote unquote negative things,
Yes.
because I
Yes.
know that they serve a purpose, and that helps
Mhm.
me to stay at cause. Because when you are understanding that the things that you determine that are not so positive, they are
Mhm.
there to teach you something, they are there to grab your
Yes.
attention to something. So
Mhm.
even that
Exactly.
I'm grateful for.
Yes.
And so what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Because one of the biggest things that we as human beings don't fully understand is that we are placed on this 3D planet, to learn lessons, to
Hmm.
learn the lessons of this life. Like, why I it's something that I needed to shift my understanding on, because that's, if you don't necessarily learn the lesson that keeps popping up when a negative experience comes, it's going to keep popping up in your life. And
Yeah.
that was something that I needed to step back and be like, okay, this experience with guys in my life, me trying to have a relationship, this keeps coming up. What do I need to learn in order for this pattern to stop? And it was the lesson of coming back into myself and loving myself first before loving anybody else. And
Hmm.
so I think that's something that people need to understand, is that we are here to learn lessons. And you may not understand what the lesson is in that time frame of when a negative thing just happened, but it will come to you eventually, and you just have
Yeah.
to believe that it will. And also, I just got another download. If something isn't going your way, like for example, I had a job interview for an online working job so that I could shift, go so let me back up. So my goal is to move back home. However, I'm having some, I don't want to say conflicts, but just resistance with my parents accepting me back home without having a job with full benefits. And
Mm.
we're not necessarily at that point in time right now for me to explain that everything's going to work out for me, because they're very new to this concept.
Yeah.
So I applied to this job that is a remote work from home job, and I didn't receive it, which is fine. And my ego self, like beforehand, before my spiritual waking, would have been like, well, this sucks. Like there's nothing out there for me then. I tried, you know. But
Mm.
my when I got that email saying that I didn't receive that position, instantly I said, there's something better for me.
Yeah.
There's something better for me. So that's also something that I feel people should realize, is that if something isn't going in your favor, that's the universe telling you that there's something better out there for you. So you just have to be patient and believe in divine timing, because it's not necessarily like your ego wants everything to happen so quickly, but
Yeah.
your higher self wants you to learn those lessons, and then you'll receive those outstanding benefits to them
Yeah.
and receive what you are truly meant to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you didn't get the job, but I know that it is for a reason and something
Yes, it
better will
is.
come, as you're
Yes.
saying.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so yeah, it's and believing. What would you say to people that are beginning into this spiritual awakening, but
Yeah.
have the ego popping up so often that they are
Mhm.
feeling that yes, it needs to come now, and is they're having trouble believing and they're having trouble having faith and being
Mhm.
patient. What would you say?
Yes. Yes. So this is something I will admit I'm still in the process of truly embodying,
Mm,
because ego, something that you have to understand about the ego is that it is, you want to be in partnership. You don't want your ego to die, or you don't want to degrade your ego, because that's your ego degrading itself in a sense.
mm, yeah,
You want to, your conscious self and your higher self want to be in partnership with your ego, because it's there to keep you safe. It's there to protect you. That's its main reason, is to protect you from, that saber-toothed tiger 1,000 years ago or whatever, that would come up and eat you. Like it's there for a reason. But now, since we're in a different climate, in a different world, it's trying to find ways in order to keep you safe, that are different from that saber-toothed tiger trying to eat you.
yeah,
So how I have been relaxing my ego is just, thanking it for showing up, truly appreciating it, and almost talking to it like a child. Like, I am so
mm,
grateful you are here. You are so, thank you for protecting me. Like just getting into that almost motherly partnership kind of talk with your ego,
mm,
because then your ego will be reassured that yes, you are safe. Like, ego, thank you for popping up. I know I am safe. I appreciate you for when I have to cross the street, that you will keep me safe. That's when I will need you. But right now, me and my higher self are coming up with a plan. We are safe. You can take a seat, kind of thing. Like, just
mm,
playing along with your ego in a partnership, playful kind of way will definitely help when that pops up, when you're on the breakthrough of something, when you're on the breakthrough of a limiting belief. And it will
yeah,
fight. It won't go down without a fight. Just prepare yourself, but truly come in and be like, okay, thank you, but I need to do this in order to break through and to succeed. Like, for example, I told you before that when we had our first call, there was resistance. And I'm like, come on, this is going to open up so many doors for me. Like, thank you for this resistance, but I'm going to step aside from that and just power through,
yeah.
and that's what has worked for me. What has worked for you when that ego's come up in your process?
Yeah, definitely because I have a name for my ego. So I my
Ah, yes.
name's ego, my ego's name is Georgina. And
Okay.
so I talked to Georgina. I said, Georgina, I'm here with you.
Mhm.
And she last year she was more of the person that would bring me down. Now
Mhm.
I feel like she's more neutral. And
Okay.
sometimes when I'm not, when I haven't slept as well, or when I'm hungry, she pops in a little bit more to bring me down. But now I
Yes.
feel like she's there with me and she's
Mm-hmm.
co-coaching me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I coach her, she coaches me. And so
Mhm.
that has been something that it makes me feel less lonely, because
Yeah.
if we don't do this, and sometimes we hear these voices in our heads, we get nervous, we get stressed, and it can be quite
Mhm.
lonely. And so
Yep.
by the fact that I'm think that she's a part of me, that I named Georgina, it
Mm-hmm.
personalizes her, and just, you know what, I'm here for you, you're here for me, we can work through this, we can work through this together. And so it
Exactly.
has helped me. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on a name for my higher self as well. So when I want to
Oh,
call her,
awesome.
I just
Yeah.
say, yeah. So I'm still figuring out what name she responds to. But dealing with the ego, definitely having a name is really helpful, because it
Yeah.
creates some distance. And it's almost like, because I remember last year, so I had the spiritual awakening also during the pandemic, was really helpful
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that in the beginning I couldn't say to myself I love myself. It
Mm-hmm.
was something that I couldn't, it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't come naturally. So I found that if I would say I love you, it was better than I love myself.
Ah,
So
okay.
I started
Yeah.
to say I love you. I started to say, Georgina, I love you, I love you, I love you. And at
Mm-hmm.
some point she was saying I love you back, and I was saying I love
Oh,
myself, and now I'm just
great. Yay.
woo.
Yay.
So it
That's
is something
awesome.
that has, like, it lasts 1 year to get to this point, and it's something that, yes,
Mhm.
has created a lot of pain, a lot of
Mhm.
discomfort. But that's how
Yes,
we grow. If you think
exactly.
back on when we were children and we were just
Yep.
growing, our teeth were growing, we would
Yes.
cry all the
Yep.
time. And so
Yep.
when we were trying to learn how to walk, and if we would
Hmm.
fail or like fall or something, it would be hurt, like we would feel the pain, but
Of
it
course.
was
Yep.
still so important for our growth. But at that time,
Yes.
because it was physical growth, people wouldn't
Hmm.
give, wouldn't say, oh no, that's nonsense. Right. But now, if we
Hmm.
say, you know what, I'm growing spiritually, people tend to be a little bit more, I don't know about that, because it's something
Exactly.
that they cannot
Hmm.
see. But the fact that you
Hmm.
believe, the fact that you know it's true for yourself,
Hmm.
I think that's
Yeah.
what's empower us. And that's,
Yes.
yeah. What would
Yeah.
you say?
Yes. I completely agree. It's a process. And you need to and like you said before, personal growth and spiritual awakening isn't always positive because you need to
Mm,
have the balance of and I wouldn't necessarily say positive. I would say more of like a high vibration and a low
yeah.
vibration. Like you
Yeah.
need to go through those low vibrational situations or emotions in order to break through up the to grow up to those high vibrational
Yeah.
situations and whatnot. Like you need to um, go back and learn lessons from past traumas, and that I would recommend with doing a certified professional, which I am.
Mm,
That is a technique called time techniques, where it goes back into past lives or generational, or even in the womb, or even as a child, and it helps you release anger and sadness from those past traumas, like those first past traumas. And when you it's called time techniques, so you float above your timeline and you go back. You don't go back into the event because you
mm,
don't want to relive it. You just want to learn the lessons from it. So when you learn the lessons from that first situation, then you come back to now, and it trickles down into all those then situations that caused you to be angry, that caused you to be sad, and it allows you to learn those lessons up until now. So it's a very powerful technique, and I highly recommend going through a session because you can release anger, sadness, guilt, fear, anxiousness, and that can be very powerful. But you have to understand that you have to go through the the, the lows before going
mm.
through the ups in order to break through into the ups, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I would
Yeah,
always say that in order for you to fully appreciate the ups, you need the downs and you need the
yeah,
lows, right?
yeah.
So it is that balance in life that we're always seeking for. And I
Yeah.
see a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to be happy all the time. I want to never feel guilty or feel anxious again." You
Mhm.
know what? That's not going to happen. You're not going to be feel happy
Yeah.
all the time. But when you
Yep.
do have a low in your life, you have the tools and you have the resources to go up again, or to at
Yeah.
least neutralize your state a bit. And what
Exactly.
would you say some of the resources that have worked for you might work for other people as well?
Yeah. Yeah. So just to bounce off that idea of you have to work through the lows,
Hmm.
in order to experience bliss, you have to know what sadness is. Like
Yeah.
you have to know the opposite. The law of polarity, the universal law of polarity, says that you need to, it's polar opposites. You need to experience both. It's almost like yin and yang.
Mm.
Um, you have to know what sadness is in order to know what happiness is. Like you have to experience the opposite of the emotion in order to really feel that positive emotion, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
um, and so looping back to the resources that have helped me, um, I truly love, like I said, time techniques has been very helpful. um, Emotional freedom techniques, which is the
Hmm.
tapping, that is wonderful. That's very good for if you're starting to feel anxious in the moment, or you have like say you made a mistake and you feel really guilty about it. It will release guilt in that moment for that thing that you're feeling guilty about or anxious about, or what have you. And you can even tap to make yourself more positive, like a positive experience too.
Mm.
Emotional freedom techniques, tapping is a very useful tool. I've used it when I feel anxious about posting online or something, because I'm working through my own limiting beliefs and whatnot, and it's a process. But the EFT has been a great tool to help. Um, Hypnotherapy also is something wonderful. It is nothing like what you see on TV. What you see on
Hmm.
TV with a hypnotherapist, or what they claim to be a hypnotherapist, is all for entertainment. Like
Yeah.
the person that does the hypnosis looks into the crowd and picks out the people that they feel will be the most entertaining, if you will. So that's not what hypnotherapy is. Hypnotherapy can allow you to it bypasses your conscious mind in order to speak directly to your subconscious mind, to free you from those limiting beliefs about yourself. Or I've seen hypnosis used in smoking cessation
Yeah.
and weight loss. So that is a really great resource as well. I've used the hypnosis one for weight loss, and so definitely working through that. And let's see, what other resources have I experienced? um, Yeah, so NLP, I don't know if you guys know what NLP is, neuro linguistic programming. I'm certified in neuro linguistic programming, and there's a bunch of wonderful tools. There's reframing, there's mapping across, there's the swish method. Those are just the tip of the iceberg as to when it comes to neuro linguistic programming that I also perform as well. So those have helped. I no longer eat dairy cheese.
Mm.
I did a similar mapping across exercise when I was going through a Tony Robbins seminar. It was very similar to the NLP technique of mapping across. So that seminar was back in January, and it is now, what is it, March, almost the end of March, and I have yet to eat any dairy cheese. And mind you, I used to be addicted to it. I used to sit down and eat like a half a block of cheese. Like
Mm.
it was that that bad. And the charcuterie plates and all that stuff I would order whenever I went out. And the not to get too TMI, but it was not good on my body.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it drained my energy. It made me feel gross in a sense. And ever since quitting that, my skin has cleared up and whatnot, and I'm free of acne, which is awesome. So,
Yeah.
and that's also that tool helped me step back into my self control over indulging in cheese.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, amazing, amazing story.
yeah.
Yeah. Really good. And actually today with my coach, I was so I my coach is a trainer in NLP. I am
Mm-hmm.
a master practitioner in NLP, but
Mm-hmm.
I still need my to ground myself and work
Mm-hmm.
with her.
Mm-hmm.
And so we
Yeah.
did a mapping across. And one of the beliefs that we were working was actually very interesting that you're saying that, because somehow I have this, or I had this
Yeah.
belief
Yeah.
that I can change, but only temporarily. And so I
Oh,
had in
okay.
my mind, yeah, okay, I can continue to work out, or I can continue not to eat cookies, but until when? So
Mm-hmm.
when will this come back, when I will be back on to my old ways?
Mm-hmm.
And so we did this mapping across technique that
Mm-hmm.
for everyone listening that hasn't done, is just basically you going into a trance type of thing and just answering a few questions and just being guided by the practitioner or by the coach. And it's very simple. It doesn't hurt at all.
No, no, it's wonderful. It's a
It
wonderful
can,
technique.
yeah, it can be done online, so it's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely safe, and it is very very simple, but has long lasting effects. And so
Yes.
it is very interesting to reframe our mind and work with our mind, with our unconscious mind, because that is where our core beliefs are truly engraved,
Mm-hmm.
and that is really where we should be paying attention more.
Yeah.
So lovely to
Yeah.
hear that you're left the
Yes.
dairy,
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
and hopefully now that I have done this technique as well, because I used to be vegan. I was vegan for, and you know this, we talked about this before. I used to be vegan for 4 years, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow I decided that it was no longer time for me to be vegan. And so it was
Mm-hmm.
that whole situation. Okay, I'm going to be vegan, but until when? And so
Oh, I see.
the
Mm-hmm.
when came, and I stopped being vegan. So now I think it's my time to going back to it, or at least vegetarian,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that, and just
Yeah.
exploring that a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I don't know how this came through, but
Yeah.
it was a good story
Yeah.
that we shared,
Yes.
both of us. And to
Yeah,
me, maybe I'll
definitely.
share. Well, I
Yeah.
think people are tired of listening to my resources, but I feel to me what has been really helpful was journaling as well. Journaling
Yes.
is a very
Yes.
powerful tool that has helped me to put things into perspective and
Mm-hmm.
just analyze myself a little bit better, and
Yeah.
meditating as well. So that goes
Yes.
hand in hand with
Yes.
hypnotherapy, isn't it? Because it is going into a trance, and it is going
Mm-hmm.
into a deep state of relaxation where you
Mm-hmm.
open up your mind. And I feel like that
Yes.
has been really powerful. And these are
Yes.
the techniques that are very simple to follow. You can find
Mm-hmm.
them on YouTube. I have
Yeah.
guided meditations on the podcast as well.
Nice.
People that are listening can work with either of us to
Yes.
explore
Yes.
this. So that's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely possible and very easy to come by. And
Yes.
I wanted to talk a little bit more about the discipline and the self control, uh,
Yeah.
because yes, you've done that technique, but
Mm-hmm.
now you have to do something to every day
Yes.
for you to remain um, away from dairy.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what is it that you have to do in order
Yeah.
to maintain that habit of yours?
Yeah. So the overview of the technique is you do get yourself into a trance of, so for me, it was in the trance of how the cheese makes me feel. So
Mm,
it was pretty much outweighing the benefits of me eating cheese and the consequences. And the consequences need to outweigh those
mm,
benefits of you sticking with cheese or sticking with that limiting belief. And so how that has helped me is that like every time I look at cheese and I feel tempted, I think of all the consequences. I'm like, well, this is going to make you feel like not good. Your acne could come back. Like all these things. Like the benefits for me for cheese were immediate pleasure.
mm.
That was it. Um, Immediate pleasure. Yeah, I can't even think of any other benefits now, but the
That's
consequences
amazing.
outweighed, yeah, the consequences outweighed the benefits. So now every time I look at cheese, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to feel that way. I don't want my acne to come back. And it helps me deter myself from getting that. And I've explored vegan cheese options. We have a grocery store here back in my hometown, actually, that I stock up on some great plant-based vegan cheeses.
You're good.
And so every time I go home, I bring my cooler and I pack up and
Yeah.
stock up and bring them back. But yeah, I, I don't want to say that I miss cheese, but I'm going to say I don't miss cheese because there's other options out there for you to explore. And with that being said about the limiting beliefs, just I'm sure your consequences outweigh the benefits of thinking that limiting belief. So
Mm,
I think just embracing that and going through and listing down the consequences and the benefits and seeing the consequence list, like writing down all of the consequences and having that be longer than the benefits will definitely help you continually overcome not thinking that or not eating that.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Great tip.
Yes.
Definitely
Thank you.
make a list. And I will make a list for myself as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how can people work with you, connect with you? How can they find out more about you?
Yes.
Where do
Yes.
you hang out?
Yes. So I hang out on Instagram at Lesley Self Control Coach, and that's Lesley. Um, and I am in the midst of rebranding, not rebranding, but just getting as much content out there as I can. And it's all coming to me at once. And I'm in the process of video recording. I like videos better than typing out and writing out
Mhm.
long blog posts or captions or whatnot. I'd rather just tell you. So I'm in the process of doing that. But yeah, you can look at my website called www.theflawlesspineapple.com. I did a little rebranding switch when I came to self control coaching. I had my that website before, so that's the URL. It's a little different than what I'm putting out there now, but you can find me on there. And I am going to be offering one-on-one coaching sessions. They're going to be 3 months long. You get to have two deep diving sessions with me a month, so 6 total. And I'll give you, all my resources that I have. I'll give you tips and tricks on how to overcome limiting beliefs and to truly step back into your self control to embody your authentic self. Because honestly, I'm in the process of doing that. I mean, we're continuing to learn constantly. And, but truly, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I want to reach as many people as I can in order for them to know that they have choice in their life, in order to know that they can be at cause for their life and
Yeah.
that they don't need to live in effect. They don't need to live in fear. Thank that fear for coming up,
Mm.
but realize that you don't need to live in fear. You can live in abundance. You can live happily, but you can also, have the ups and downs of it too. You can experience life with more balance when you step back into your own self control. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm definitely going to be putting more content out there. One of my goals is to produce a group coaching program, which is in the works. So, but I am super excited to work with people one on one. Like, I love connecting and seeing their faces online because,
Yeah.
of course, we're in the global pandemic. But I'm a free to anybody. I'm open to helping anybody. So, yeah,
Amazing. Amazing. I will leave
yeah,
everything in the show notes. Lesley, thank
yeah.
you so much for coming here. I
You're
loved
welcome.
hearing all of your stories
Yes,
was
thank you
and the
for having
resources
me.
that you share. Yeah. And the resources
Yeah,
that you share, I feel like are very, very powerful. So I wish you all the best. And I
yes,
hope
thank
you enjoyed
you.
being here today.
I did. This was awesome. This is definitely something that is calling to me now that I want to do more of.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you so
Yes.
much for having me. I love what you're doing. I love how you have guest speakers on that, give your listeners knowledge so that they can have more resources. I love that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And share your
yeah,
story. I love to share other people's stories as well. So I feel
yes,
because
yeah,
I myself love to listen to this type of episodes where people are just chatting and it's just natural.
yes,
So
yes.
that is
Hmm.
very that's what I wanted to bring to people as well.
Yes. I love that. I love that. Yeah,
Thank you once again. And for
you're
everyone
welcome.
listening, I will see you on the next episode. Bye.
Awesome. Bye bye.